See a name that we like. Joe, you won't believe what we found, man. We can travel around the world. We can have new homes. I know you want more. We can make things happen. We can make it a better world. Come on, Joe, get up. No response. There's 2 dates on there. There's a birth date and a death date. The interesting thing is between every one of those birth dates and death dates, every single one of them, there's a dash. The question is, what are you going to do with the dash?
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is doing amazing. If you're on here joining us live, please go ahead and throw your name into the chat where you're joining us from. We always love to see where everyone is joining us from. Super, super excited to come to you guys tonight with some of the fastest growing unfranchised owners around the globe. And as you can see, they nailed it. They achieved the what are you going to do with the Dash JR challenge, leading by example. And as you can see, here's the criteria that they had to hit. Absolutely rocking and rolling, make sure they had their tickets, moving tickets to new people, growing their business, personally sponsoring 3 unfranchised owners in the last 90 days, 3,000 BV in personal use and or customer orders. So moving some products, folks, and helping customers with our amazing products, 300 IBV, and listening to or watching at least 1 JR audio or video every single week, and making their dash count. So please welcome my 3 panelists for this evening. Number 1, we have on Steven. Steven, are you with me?
Yep, I'm all here. What's going on?
Beautiful.
How are you?
All right. Hey, man, awesome. So great to have you on. And next we have Jackie.
Hi, Colin. How are you? Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course, of course. And then last but not least, we have Calvin.
Hey, thank you so much for having us. Definitely excited to be here.
Excited to have everybody on the line here tonight. First and foremost, I would love to get a little background from each one of you, just like where you're from, and then what attracted you most to the unfranchise, and why you got started, basically. So we'll go ahead and start with ladies first. Jackie, you're up.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So I'm Jackie Elsaki, originally from Liberia. My background is in medical research. I currently am an adjunct professor at Temple University, and I've been running my business for over 6 years now, almost 7 in November. And I wouldn't have come across this opportunity if it wasn't for a great friend who I met while volunteering for the American Red Cross. A year later, she reached out to me. Now we have family. So thank you, Wasra, because what this business has done for me over the past 6 years was give me the chance to pave my own way, my own future, right? Not to just to forget about the mundane trading time for money. And it's been really, really helpful. I am where I am today in my career because of this business. So I'm excited to share a little bit, but thank you for the opportunity, Colin.
Fantastic. All right, Steven, you're up.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Myself, I graduated from Carnegie Mellon University. My parents, they immigrated here from Haiti. They taught me their whole recipe towards success, which was go to school, get good grades, get a safe, secure job. So I got my master's degree, started working full-time over at the Boeing company, but there was just a lot of politics and corporate. And I realized that even if I became great at it, like I wasn't even gonna like where I was gonna be like long-term. So I was just attracted by the ability to have flexibility, to have freedom, to really develop my skills, to really improve where I am, to help me get to where I wanted to be, and not really just be tied down to something that I don't want to see going forward. So super grateful Kevin DeWong was able to introduce me, a coworker at the time, became business partners, and introduced me to his team to unfranchised business, and it's been a game changer for everything that it's been able to do.
Beautiful. I love that. And Calvin.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for letting me share background working for nonprofit organizations for the youth in the city. However, the higher that I went up the corporate ladder, the further that they moved me away from the kids that I joined on to help. So I was really just looking for an opportunity to get my time back and, spend that time with, my family, my friends, my community, the three things that mean the most to me, and super grateful that it was actually Steve on this call right now, whose family, who actually introduced me to this business. I'm joking, and I always say that whenever we share the stage together, our parents are going to be so happy. So I'm definitely forwarding my mom the link. But been running the business for over 3 years. It's helped me so much in terms of just not only leadership when it comes to the business, but also with the personal development, how I've been able to give back to my community. So super, super grateful to be here. So thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And now who's family? Just so everybody's connecting the dots 360.
Yeah, me and Steve.
You and Steve, there you
Yeah.
go. And you guys are cousins?
Exactly.
Man, I think it's awesome. I mean, look, I always joke with some of my friends. You'd be like, man, I've helped strangers make sense. I don't know what you guys are waiting on. You know what I mean? But
Right,
what you
yeah.
do with family, where everybody's supporting each other, linking arms, how do we level up, right? I think it's amazing. Fantastic. Now, Jackie, we're going to jump back to you. Why did you make the commitment to go for the, what are you going to do with the Dash Challenge?
Sounds good. For me, it's always about growth, honestly. But this was an opportunity we want to earn on JR. If you think about it, honestly, in the process of him creating his Dash, he was able to create something to give each and every one of us the opportunity. So this is an opportunity of a lifetime, because, who knows, it might be the only Dash challenge. There might be multiple, but I know for a fact I wanted to be part of the first people, the first group to qualify for the Dash challenge. One, to pay tribute, but two, to grow my team in the process, and it gave me the opportunity to lead by example. Right? At the end of the day, it's ABC growth, right? You have to hit mastery of all, and this was an incredible opportunity to hit the sponsorship and the customer standpoint of everything. So that was my driving force, and I had to make goals. I had to be diligent. I had to be disciplined, and I had to be consistent and true to myself that I want to make it work.
So great. All right, Stephen, let's go to you.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, first of all, anytime the company puts out a challenge, I've never seen it make your business go backwards, right? So like, just first and foremost, I'm like, okay, there's a challenge in place, so I definitely want to go after it, whether it's a local challenge, chairman challenge, doesn't really matter. But in seeing this obviously had a higher level of significance. The fact that, J.R. Ridinger, who like sacrificed everything, been around the company 30 years, and just literally built the company not only from the grassroots level, building the company, but the corporate side, just everything that he's had to deal with. And me understanding that one of the first audios that I've ever listened to that my mentors provided me was The Dash by JR. Like, legitimately, we recommend that to all of our new partners within their first 1 to 2 weeks of training. It just has special significance. And when I saw that, I said to myself, I was like, all right, you have to hit it. You're going to have to go push. You're going to have to go through it, whatever the challenges may be, whether from an expansion standpoint, whether it be from a volume standpoint. Like, you have to do it, because Jerry just says, like, you never really know what's going to happen at the end. You don't have basically introduction as to when you're going to be born into this world, but what are you going to do with the Dash? So I said to myself, I have to at least be able to look myself in the mirror and feel comfortable that I actually went all out and went for it, just based off his name and everything that he's done for all of us. So it was an easy inspiration. I'm just grateful for everything he's been able to do.
Beautiful, beautiful. Calvin.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll be honest, a bit of the motivation was, chasing my mentors, because Steve and Jackie, they've hit the chairman's challenge in the past before. So just like really following their example, I really love to go after challenges, because it just gives you a reason to dig deep and to keep on pushing. Like, for example, just seeing them lead by example, that made me want to do more. And then so now I knew that by going after the chairman's challenge, now when I speak to my team, is speaking to them from a standpoint of, hey, I'm not just saying, let's go after this. So for my name to be up there, it's just such an honor, especially because, JR, during his last convention, he laid it all out. I remember everyone saying that he spoke for hours longer than he was even supposed to. So, during his last convention, he laid it all out for us. And I remember, as far as magic moments, a few partners and I, we would always talk about how just amazing JR's, last segment was, where he just spoke about with so much conviction that he wanted all of us to dig deep and really make it happen. And I remember him calling on the leaders, like, Elizabeth Weber and saying, let's do this one more time. So to be able to qualify for, the Dash Challenge, like Jackie said, it being for the very first one was just such an amazing opportunity, because now for someone who was really calling all of the leaders to push on one more time and give it their all, to have my name associated with so many other great business partners who are also able to achieve it really means the world, because I believe everyone's digging a little deeper because of JR. And because of, what he means to us, and, how he's touched us through the business and with this opportunity. So, super grateful.
Beautiful, beautiful. We're going to go back the opposite direction this time. So Calvin, you're going to kick it off. Any obstacles or any challenges come up? Because, a lot of people, when they see somebody hit a challenge or hit a level with the company and they're doing great things, they just assume that, your grass is perfectly manicured. Everything's done perfect, and no obstacles ever. But was there anything where you're like, man, I got to push on this. This is going to be maybe my biggest challenge, but I'm gonna overcome it. Anything like that for you?
Yeah, 100%. So, prior to, the Dash Challenge, and I was at a slow point in my business where I want to say, maybe I showed like 60 plans and didn't have a launch, right? Steve would tell you, because he really helps me out with my follow-up. So he was on those calls. So I was at a point where I really wasn't sponsoring like that. And then on top of that, retail has never been a strong suit of mine. But, one of the things that everybody will always tell you in this business, it's not about what you're going through. It's about if you could continue to move forward, even at the times where your business isn't going amazing. How do you show up for your team? And that's another thing, JR really taught, was to, do something for something bigger than yourself. So I remember, though, even though mentally I was defeated, I still wanted to show the plan, and I still wanted to, sell products on behalf of my team, so then they could at least see that I kept on going, even though it wasn't really producing the results I wanted. However, obviously when you keep pushing and you keep pushing, and then you continue to listen to these JR audios and watch these JR videos, eventually the action pays off. So now all of a sudden I'm starting to heat up. And then once again, people see the Dash Challenge being hit, but they don't see like the 60, 70 rejections or the thousands of reach outs being done on social media that led up to this point. So if you're right now, going for the Dash Challenge, or have gone for any challenges, but perhaps the fruit of your labor is not being shown, just know that you have to keep on pushing, and whoever you see accomplishing these challenges have gone through the same rut you have gone through as well.
Fantastic. All right, Stephen, let's go to you.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, a lot of times people see, what's above the iceberg, as opposed to like what's underneath, across the board. So any challenge, any achievement, always comes down to basically a daily method of operation, because we say all the time, it's not about what you can do in a day, but more so like, what is it that you do daily? So like, being able to lock into this challenge, it was like, okay, what are going to be my action steps? Basically, what I can control? I can only control my attitude, and I can control my activity. So based off the belief level that was generated within the business, we were able to kind of like come out of the leadership school event and have a lot of success in terms of like, being able to partner with individuals, introduce individuals into the business. But one of the challenges was the actual volume component. Why? Because obviously it was the master UFO component multiplied by like basically 2, essentially, right? So 3,000, which was a little bit of a stretch, right? It was like 1,000 points per month, like, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's great. It's doing what you need to do and a little bit more. So the biggest thing that I said to myself was like, okay, am I going to let this obstacle be bigger than me, or am I going to be bigger than the obstacle? And I was doubting for a little bit. I'm just like, oh man, hey, I got the sponsorships, I was able to expand, at least that is leading by example to some degree, right? I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely thinking about that, right? And I was just like, you know what, maybe the next challenge, right? That's like the whisper that kind of like pops in my mind. I already hit chairman's, you know what I mean? Like, team knows I'm working. So it's like, the reason why I'm talking about all this is because we always have like these excuses, these doubts, these limiting beliefs that like creep in your mind, no matter how experienced that you've been in. And then you just need to essentially, squash it, right? And then I said to myself, okay, well, what are creative ways that I could actually create, the volume, create the sales? And what I realized is that the person who has the most tools in the marketplace wins. So what I did was, I basically provided catalogs of like literally all the layered jewelry for some of my customers to be able to pick out. And I said to them, hey, you know, you basically get one of these products. I'm actually going to add in a free skincare product. So it's going to really match in the beauty within your layered as well as the jewelry, because I want to creatively find a way to be able to increase volume to be able to make sure that I hit the challenge. And so that was really it. And so again, like Calvin said, all about being able to lead by example, because, you know, the team is going to listen with their eyes, right? And not basically what it is that you say. So I knew I had to do whatever I need to do. And again, going back to what we said in the beginning with JR, right? It's like, what would he do with that dash? He would do anything to be, you know, living here today and to have a problem of, you know, just trying to create a little bit extra volume. So who am I, you know, that's gonna, you know, kind of cower towards some of this obstacle. So I said that to myself, and then it really just followed the daily action steps of, you know, my rhythm and my routine towards the day, and good things happen, and we're able to overcome that obstacle. And here we are today.
Fantastic. All right, Jackie.
Yes, Stephen Collins said it perfectly. For me, one of the biggest obstacles, same as everyone, is discipline, right? Discipline. Mostly is because it's due to lack of belief in self. And I know Steve talked about belief, and Calvin too, but I knew that the pain of discipline is less than the pain of regret. They didn't want to wait for the next dash challenge, realize I had to put in the work. So again, it was all about setting goal, attaching an action plan with that goal, being very disciplined, and from trying to be very disciplined. And then in turns, it led to that discipline, but I just knew that they didn't want to miss out. They didn't want to miss out. I had to stay close to my action. And like Steve said, this is the volume. It was more than Master UFO, almost within the time frame of Master UFO. So that was a stretch. So it was most of being resourceful. We have a business where we have products and services. I needed to follow up with my customers. Those who were running out of, I needed to get it on hand to drop it at their houses instead of waiting for them to call me, right? I needed to follow up. And from an expansion standpoint, sponsorship, same thing, follow up. Most of the sponsorships that qualified me for this challenge were people in my funnel for over 3 to 5 years ago. So I needed to follow up, and it's all because I had a goal, and I knew that it doesn't matter what happened, I needed to hit that goal. One, because of what Jara did, and this is a big deal. If you think it's not, no, it is a big deal. And showing up for yourself, showing up for the team, leading by example, that was my driving force. I knew that in order for me to look back to see who's coming with, I needed to be ahead. I needed to be on the path before I can even check to see who's coming with. That was the big thing for me. Yeah.
Fantastic. So now stay with you, Jackie. So I just could piggyback on what you were just sharing. That so Stephen, when he was sharing, like, so what he did with the jewelry, for instance, right? Level that, I mean, unbelievable tip. So there's other people watching this right now. They're going to watch it and they're going to say, okay, what's the best tip? Was there anything you did from an approach standpoint that works hot, or, you know, was it a product approach? Was it a business approach? What's your wheelhouse that you're like, man, I'm really good at this part? What would that be?
I dabble here and there, you know, a little bit of both. For a product standpoint, something that I did in the past in my business, and I know Stephen's aware, and Calvin too, it still works. I leverage that. We have incredible products. I pick one product, you know, instead of going multiple products, I pick one product, making that my target product. It's something that anyone can try. So an example, a big thing I do is with the mocha. I'm like, hey, could you help me out? Will you help me out? I'm just trying to get feedback from few people. You don't even have to reorder. I just need to get your feedback after you purchase this for one time, right? That was pretty much that. You know, at one point, there were multiple orders. I was even able to duplicate that with a couple of partners who were struggling with retail. And from the expansion standpoint, it's just revisiting like, hey, I know it's been a couple of years since we last spoke. A lot has changed. I'm not sure if you are aware, but right now my whole goal is to help as many families as possible. Definitely might not be for you, but I love to connect and get you to revisit. Hopefully you might know someone who could benefit from this opportunity, because we are doing something big. And yes, and once they saw that, some of them were like, hey, you know, I can look into this for me. And that was it.
Love that. Love that. Calvin, let's go to you too. If like any tip or any wheelhouse thing that you really got some good traction going, that maybe somebody can steal that nugget and say, I'm gonna give that a shot tomorrow. You know?
For sure. So definitely don't get caught up in just cold market. I've been in the business for, over 3 years now. And a lot of times you can kind of get focused on, just reaching out to people who are outside of your circle, because maybe you've shown the plan to a couple hundred people that you know personally. But I remember one thing I did was I created a brand new names list of, hot and warm market. And I went back to making phone calls, right? So like literally I would just set aside time every single day, whether it was like, maybe 30 minutes here, 40 minutes there. And then I would just call away from a brand new hot and warms names list. And that, really set it off, because one, you're checking on people that, you should probably be checking on anyway, but, time sometimes gets the best of us. So no matter what, it was resulting in great conversation, catching up with people that, I cared about. And then on top of that, it also even led to some customer sales as well. While I may have originally called them for the business, by having that conversation, some kind of brought up other problems that they were going through. And the beautiful thing about our business is that we offer solutions. So even if it's not in terms of the business, for some people, it might be weight loss instead. So, I was able to leverage both.
Love that. Fantastic. All right, let's jump to Stephen on this one. So what would be maybe the top lesson that you learned from JR that has impacted your life or your business?
The top from JR, he teaches so many. It's tough. But they're all intertwined. So for me, really what it comes down to is just the whole idea of like belief, right? Just believing and thinking big and dreaming big, because you'll never be bigger than your dreams. Because to give you a frame of reference, my first event, right? I got started in this business, just literally had an engineering background, no experience within anything within business. I went to my first JR event, and it was the event in which he actually was walking across like the tightrope in the wheelbarrow. Right. And so what I saw was him literally a billionaire, with a company that's been around for like well over, 25 years at that point, like almost in a position in which he can severely just embarrass himself by falling underneath. And then he literally just goes across this tightrope within the wheelbarrow just to really prove and believe that, hey, if you put your mind to something, if you have a focus, if you have an intention, then anything could really happen. And then I just remember he just stared at the crowd and he looked at all of us and he says, "Do you believe?" Right? And he's like, "Do you think I could do it again?" And you know what happened. And then he had Elizabeth Weber come on and then he just did it again. And I just remember thinking to myself, hey, if a billionaire at this point will literally go through this skit, really just to prove that, hey, what you're looking to do and just trying to get to 300 a month, 1,000 a month, 5,000 a month is very, very small in comparison to like how big he thinks. Like you need to stop just being afraid, you need to stop letting your limiting beliefs hold you back. And then he kind of intertwined that with just programming your mind to be a hopeless success. He's kept saying that, hey, I'm just an average individual. And how do I know that you can do it? Because I was just like you. And when he said that, it hit very, very, very heavily, because we always like look and point at these people on stage and when they're earning extra income. And now they do that to myself and others. It's like, hey, and they think that you're different, right? And they want to kind of point towards all the differences that make you special, that allow you to earn, that allow you to be successful, instead of really understanding the similarities. And when Jared said that he just did the basics with the vision board that he would look at every single day, and that he was always just programming his mind, journaling his thoughts, and then ultimately that allowed him to help him succeed so that others can believe, that was big as well, because it really kind of got me to understand the idea of leading by example. Because people will over time say, of course, Elizabeth could be successful, JR could be successful because there's so much time that's been elapsed. But like, when somebody sees your good friend be successful, now it eliminates those excuses, and there's that magic moment of like, hey, if she can do it, if he can do it, then I can do it too. So all that is really just intertwined in just belief. I think Jared was like the ultimate brain surgeon that allowed me to really dream bigger, think bigger, and believe bigger, all through those stories.
Yeah, that's great. All right. So yeah. Round of applause on that one. Come on, baby. Let's go. Come on. All right, Jackie, let's go to you on this.
Yes. I know Steve said it all at one point. I'm like, oh, he stole my line. But yes, one of the many things I learned from JR, he said, programming yourself to be a hopeless success. That was something like literally like changing your stinky thinking. It was something for me when I started. I was a 21-year-old college student, international student. I've been like refused everywhere in the world when it comes to the job field, but I was accepted in the market America. So that was a big deal for me. And then I realized that in life, most people are seeking to be part of something meaningful. You know, they want to do, they want things, they want to check all of the little boxes. So you want to contribute to a worthy cause. You want to be a supportive family member, have a strong ties with a religion, so on and so forth. But then early on, when I started this business, I realized that if one of those things are off, it's nothing else matters. Right, nothing else matter because at one point you're gonna end up living in denial. You are trying to help. You are pretending to be there for everyone, but you are not. Right, you are cheating yourself and you are cheating them. Something that J.R. taught indirectly or directly. He always said that you cannot help anyone if you don't help yourself. I take care of me so that I take care of you. That was something that I learned. I just 21 years old when I started this business, I worked on becoming better. I needed to change my thinking, and it was all about personal development and GRO audios and books that were recommended through this business. It helped me a lot. Give me the chance to know that, hey, now that I've taken 6+ years later, now that I've taken care of myself, I can take care of anyone I want to take care of. So that was definitely huge for me, just switching my mindset and leaving my stinking thinking.
Yeah, fantastic. Love it. Love it. Okay, Calvin.
For sure. So my biggest, takeaway and lesson from JR was just his love of people. And I realized that all of my favorite JR audios were the ones where he would start crying. And he would start crying simply because of how much he cared about people. And, Steve could tell you when I first joined the business, I did have, I guess, a bit of a wall, right? Where I was just like, man, tell me what to do. This teamwork stuff, it sounds great, but I don't know if I really necessarily need that. And I just remember just listening to JR over and over again, whether it was in his gala address where he started crying, where he was like, how do you put a price on people's dreams? When they were looking to buy his company, and or even if I were to get to 5, how he just started empathizing with a child who may not make it to 5 years old, simply because of of a diagnosis. And it just really listening to him over and over and over again, and then even during conventions where once again he would just get emotional because he wanted us to succeed so bad. And I realized at the time that was a huge bottleneck in my leadership, where a lot of times I was communicating with people simply because I felt like that was my job, to communicate with you, make sure that you were doing the right thing, making sure your BV was there, making sure your IBV was there, and that you were on pace for Master UFO. But it wasn't until a few years in my business, I started to do that because I cared. And once again, that was all from, listening to JR's love and, just seeing a company that is built from that. So being that JR, was our leader, that means that if there's a company built on love, our CEO had to have more love than anybody else. And I always found that so fascinating because that was a huge hiccup of mine. And then now, when I'm onboarding new partners, I have much more of a genuine care for them, not even only towards their success, but also towards them as a person. And then, of course, that kind of segmented in other aspects of my life as well. And that is something I am so grateful for. Because once again, a lot of people, when they say they join the business, they're joining it to make a certain amount of income. But for, JR to show me how to have a genuine love of people, that's really something that I'm indebted to him forever for. So that would be mine.
Man, 3 amazing ones. It's absolutely amazing to know that JR built this thing from the ground up, right out of his own house, just like he would ask any one of us to do as well, right? Always, like you guys are saying, always leading by example, never asking any one of us to do something he didn't lead first with and make it happen as an entrepreneur, so it's fantastic. Jackie, we're gonna do this last question with you. So we come in for a landing. So we have international convention coming up, Icon 2023. And people are probably wondering, is Jackie going? No, they're not wondering that. They know you're all in on it. So you're all in on it, but why should they be all in on it? What was the magic moment for you in attending one of our major events like Icon?
Yes, yes, of course, Jackie is going. So if
Of
that's good enough,
course.
you should be there. But for me, yes, when I started my business, I love convention because I love to say this. We do it. This is a home-based business. So most time when we are running it from home, from our state, it feels a little bit negotiable. You can negotiate. Do I want to do it today? Do I want to not? But going to this convention, it takes you out of your space. Now you know you are at that in that state at that coliseum for a reason, right? That's number one. But other than that, is belief, right? Is belief for yourself, right? Belief for new partners, because there are so many things we can tell new partners or people who started a business. This is great. You have to see this. There was this one. There was like the like dancers, like, celebrity. You can tell people everything, but it's all about their feeling. When I went to my first major event, I was sitting in my seat. I wasn't talking to nobody. I was so emotional. Like I was overwhelmed with like joy, excitement, like everything. Because I knew my life would have been different after that convention. I was sitting in my seat. I was bawling, but it was for a good reason, right? But when I left that convention, I realized that if that person could do it, if that person could do it, if that person could do it, I could at least do a fraction of what they're doing. That was the whole thing for me, honestly. And just understanding that this is the business, the convention. This is the business. You can do everything you can do from home, but going to this event, these are our working hours, right? This is the best way for you to work the business if you expect to yield the result that you want to get out of it, honestly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Stephen, we'll go to you. And of course, with an engineer background, I mean, you had to go through a little education to get to that point as well. So, when you think about the whole educational aspect of what trainings are about too, how does that relate, with the same question, of course,
Yeah, just a little bit. I went to school once or twice, and but yeah, no, honestly, like you were saying, right? Events and momentum, right, is created through belief, right? You have to believe, because that's how actually you have a team, really kind of thinking outside of their comfort. And so based off what you just said, right? It's all about education, because a doctor, if they want to become a doctor, guess what? They got to go to medical school, right? If a lawyer wants to be a lawyer, they need to go to law school, right? If a lawyer says they want to be a lawyer, a doctor says they want to be a doctor, they don't go to law school, medical school, then you'll think they're crazy, stupid, or both, right? It's really like that simple, right? So really you just have to ask yourself and say, hey, how long am I going to actually let any kind of limiting belief prevent me from actually, unlocking my potential and getting to where I want to go? Like, how long are you going to let a lack of time, prevent you from making the best decisions for yourself? Because with our business, with this unfranchised concept, like where else can you make this kind of amount of money, have the type of time freedom, be able to help the amount of people we can help from a health standpoint, from a wealth standpoint, from a personal development standpoint, where it's like now you're able to transform and you're able to grow in so many different areas and components of your life, right? To being able to like 10x, it's like, again, you have to get that belief. And so I'm a big believer, right? It's like essentially major decisions are like made at major events, like point blank, period, like end of story. And so like as business builders, we're a facilitator of major decisions, and we can't play God towards anybody. But these events and what the corporate team is able to do, what everything has been able to lay out, it does so much of the work for you, where literally in 3 days, you can literally have 6 months to 8 months of effort. And so like, where else are you going to really get that? And so when you understand that, Icon is 1000% the place to be. Go all out. It's going to be the best event of the year by far.
Yeah, nailed that. Way to go. All right. So last but not least, Calvin, Icon, what was the magic moment for you when you went to a major event?
Yeah, for sure. So first and foremost, super grateful that Steve put a ticket in my hand, and he made sure that I got a flight out to my very first event. And the reason why it's so important to attend Icon is because just because you have a business doesn't mean you're in the business, right? And the reason is we all have the same opportunity, but until you believe that you can actually obtain it, then you're not going to take the action necessary to actually be able to obtain it. And I know for myself, when I first started the business, I was in for months, but I didn't do anything. And it's because I saw the business on paper, but everyone will tell you, you're not really in marketing America until it goes from your head to your heart. And I remember going to my first event, and it was actually, Kevin Duong, when Kevin Duong had shared his power profile, because Kevin is somebody that I had worked with, alongside Steve when building my business. And when he spoke on convention, at convention, he mentioned building the dam before you need it. And that resonated with me so much, because a lot of people, we're building this business, whether it's for our parents or whether it's for a family member. And guess what? Time is ticking, right? Ironic enough with, JR's, Dash Challenge, the reason why we're all here, but how much time really, do the people that we're doing this for have left? And for me, I'm going to these events and hearing Kevin's story lit such a fire under me, because in reality, how much longer do we have? And you need the belief in order to go after your dreams and your why with a sense of urgency, and people will buy into that. So you need that belief, and you need the fire, you need the fuel, and that can only be done at an event. It's an immersive experience where every single person around you all has the same goal. They all want more from the business. They all want more from life. It is a completely positive environment where you're not going to come across anyone who's putting doubt in your ear, but instead they're doing the opposite. Everyone's telling you how much you can succeed. Every single speaker that you see on stage are just average people like you and I who believe, why not me? And if you miss the event, there's no telling what you actually missed, because unfortunately we have some partners who said, I'll make it to the next event. And it was the last event that you could have saw Dennis, right? Some people said, I'll make it to the next event. And it was the last event that they could have saw JR, right? So my last push to everyone is, why not finish this year off as strong as possible? Our company does so much for us. The corporate team does so much for us. They pour out every resource that they have to make sure that this is the best event possible from the perspective of your education and your belief. So why not pay homage to the people who have put everything on the line for us to be successful, so that hopefully you can hear one message that will change your life, one message that will cause you to have enough belief to start building this business, because the people that you care about need you in order to really, help their situation. We all started this for a major reason, and I promise you, no one has ever achieved it by missing an event. So that is my call to everyone, to make sure that, we all show up for, the corporate team, we show up for each other, and then we show up for our why.
Beautifully said. Trinity and I are always teaching our 5 children that everything should be evaluated based on what's my investment, and then what do I expect my return on investment to be. No matter what direction people are looking to go. As an entrepreneur, I've invested easily over $100,000, and most of that was outside of Market America and books and tapes and seminars. Market America events aren't that much money. I mean, $250 to come to a 3.5-day event that's power packed, where your wrist gets sore from taking notes of information I can take home and actually build a business with. Nothing against everything else out there. I still learned a lot of everything I went to. I'm always finding the nugget. But at the end of the day, man, to have $250 investment, had that back in my pocket like a week later, right? That's what you got to think about things, is how am I going to double up, triple up, quadruple up? Most people spending $10,000, $50,000, $200,000 on a college education. I'm a fan if it's helping that person level up. What's the return on investment? But when we look at Market America, the unfranchised, right? Same kind of concept, but it's a very small investment to, double up, triple up. You got to put things in perspective. Well, listen, you guys have been absolutely amazing guests on here tonight. Jackie, Calvin, Stephen, way to go. Way to lead by example, way to lead with your hearts out there, blessing people, helping people so they can turn their lives up to the next level. And we're going to close this out with a short video for everybody to watch. And I hope everybody scan that QR code, get with the person who invited you, see if they've got an extra ticket. But no matter what, at the very least, scan the code and get your own ticket, and commit to be at International Convention. Is going to be absolutely incredible. Thank you guys for being on with me live.